Since 2007, No More Heroes has been one of the most innovative, creative, and downright insane video game series ever, and with No More Heroes 3 launching this August, it's only just getting started. Here to tell me all about it is legendary game designer Suda51 and legendary artist Derek Robertson. Together at last. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm good. What's up, Suda?
Suda-san.
Hi, Brian.
Now, Derek, what drew you to the No More Heroes project? Suda, how did you and Derek even connect? What was the sort of entry point there? Because it's super cool to see the two of you collaborating.
Should I speak first?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. I was drawn to it through my Mike Romo, who's an agent and a friend of mine that I met years ago, and he happened to find out that Suda-san was interested in working with me and tracked me down and introduced us all. And when I saw the game and everything, I was very excited to participate. I didn't know much about the game initially, but my kids are big fans, I found out. So even though I've written and drawn Batman recently, they were far more excited about me doing a cover for No More Heroes.
Suda, how did you find out about Derek's work? Were you a big fan of his comic book stuff? Like, how did you reach out to him? Were you kind of just like, I gotta work with this guy right here, he's amazing?
Of course ですね、まさに。もともと僕、ボーイズの原作が大好きだったんですけども、知ったきっかけっていうのが、トラビス・スライクス・アゲーン作った時に、ボーン・フェイスというアーティスト、キャラクターデザイナーの彼と、ロンドンで会った時に、絶対須田が好きなコミックがあるっていうので、それでボーイズを決めてくれたんですね。で、日本に帰ってすぐに買って、ボーイズを読んだら、バースイングさんも大好きだったんですけども、やっぱりダリックさんのアートがもうめちゃくちゃすごくて、もう本当にドンピシャで大好きになりましたね。もうバイオレンス描写も最高ですし、でいつかこういった方と仕事したいなと思ってたんですけども、たまたまオファーをしたら、本当に2つ返事で OK してくれて、本当最高のコラボレーションができてます。
God, that kicks ass. I mean, they're both, the boys and No More Heroes, they sort of have this anti-hero approach to them, which I really, really dig. Derek, this is, you've done comic book stuff for years now.
Yeah.
What's your sort of history as a video game fan? Because like obviously there's always been crossover between those things, but I feel like more and more of those mediums have kind of like, done a handshake that's been super, super cool. We've gotten a lot of great comic book games over the last few years. And I feel like, you grew up in an era where there was that sort of inundated with that level of pop culture of comic books, video games, action figures, all that fun stuff. So what's your history with video games and Nintendo games and stuff?
Well, my very first system I ever bought for myself was a Nintendo, and I think the very first video game I ever beat from beginning to end was Super Mario Brothers 3. And it was a situation where I actually went out and bought a magazine because this was pre-internet and I'm very old, and I had to buy a magazine to get like cheat codes and figure out how to do it.
Yep.
So I remember being very late at night, many nights that I had stayed up fighting, that Koopa and Dragon guy, and that finally got through it, and I jumped the turtles and did the things I had to do, and then I got the little cartoon and it was over, and I kind of felt empty, like, now what do I do with my life? So that was like the first time I realized, like, I should have spent that time like practicing guitars and painting, kissing girls. But no, I was massively into that game. And so I also realized that I have a kind of an addictive personality when it comes to those things. So now my kids love games, and I kind of walk in and like watch them play, and then I go, I got to get out of here, because it's like, like being an alcoholic and going to a bar and going, I can't be in here because I love them too much. So and with the marriage of video games and comic books, it's sort of a natural fit. A lot of like some of the better guys in my contemporaries have kind of left comics to go work in video games, and foolishly I stayed in comics. But the thing that they have in common is that they're, the best ones tell a good story.
Right. Yeah, I like that you beat Bowser and you were like, all right, I feel emptiness, I should move on to something better. What a lot of people did was they just
a lot
kept
of work
chasing,
for a cartoon.
they just keep chasing that emptiness forever with more and more games. That's what I've always done. Suda, it's been 11 years since the last mainline No More Heroes game. How long have you been thinking about making this game? How did the ideas kind of come and go? I mean, it obviously takes a while to make a video game, but what really got you to say this is the time right now to make No More Heroes 3?
いや、まあやっぱりWii U の時もノーマーヒーローズのナンバリングを作ってくれっていうファンからの声が、すごい熱狂的に来てたんですね。で、Wii U のタイミングはちょっといろいろ当時は本当にマルチプラットフォームでゲームを作ってる方向に移行してたので、僕らグラスホッパー自体が。で、ある時任天堂さんから、任天堂スイッチを見せてもらったんですけども、それを見た時に、モックだったんですけども、そのモックを見たタイミングでもこの瞬間、このプラットフォームで多分トラビスは復活するんだろうなって、本当直感的に、やっぱりジョイコンの仕組みもやはり Wii リモコンにすごく似てますし、多分このハードでトラビスがまた復活してノーマーヒーローズ3を多分僕は作るんだろうなっていうのを、本当確信しましたね。本当ハードを見た瞬間です、任天堂スイッチを。これができないといけないんで、もうこれができないとダメなんだったんで、ノーマーヒーローズ。
When you were at the sort of like Switch reveal event, I was super excited to see you there, by the way. But also, like the Wii U and the Wii, like they all had a lot of interesting functionality. But having, the sort of Wii remote work as a phone in No More Heroes is really cool. Is there anything sort of like interesting and novel that you're planning for Joy-Con? They don't have speakers in them, but they rumble in weird ways. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of fun things to do with that.
そうですね、ジョイコンランブルに関しては、そうですね、やっぱり機能として、あとはそのスラッシュの時の入力感だったりとか、手応えみたいなもの、例えば敵の骨を立つ時の骨の感覚みたいなものとか、なんかそんなものはスタッフと一緒に、その感覚をうまく争うよみたいなことで再現してますかね。はい。
Derek, you are a fan of gore, which I love. Like, there's definitely horror elements in your work. There's horror elements in No More Heroes. So there's a lot of sort of like people getting slashed off and just fountains of blood and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a natural fit.
Yeah, natural fit. Yeah. Tell me how sort of like you approach Travis Touchdown as a character, because I've always loved this thing about him where he's incredibly like sort of clean cut and handsome and he's dapper and well dressed, right? But he's got this punk rock aesthetic too, where fountains of blood are flying everywhere. So when you looked at Travis and you're like, how do I bring my style to this? What were some of the ideas that like you decided to bring to the table for that?
I felt like it fit right in with what I do naturally. Like it's definitely he's like in my wheelhouse. So all those characters, that world made immediate sense to me. There's a little bit of Transmetropolitan that I could bring into it, and then I love Akira, and I could see some elements of that it influenced it. And then like it was almost like a cool Tarantino film. Mm-hmm. There's some elements of that. Like so, and the character just seems like. He almost speaks for himself. Like you can just see in his swagger and his attitude. And they were nice enough to send me some animatics of the game, so I had an idea of what the gameplay was going to be like before I started crafting the pieces for them. And there's one of them that's just completely gory, and I'm like, well, I can see why they called me.
Suda, we've seen The Boys find incredible success as a TV show, a series on Amazon. When are we going to get a No More Heroes TV show?
ブライアン、いい質問ですね。映画化の話とか映像化の話ってもうこれまで何個くらいかなりの数来てるんですけども、まだ一つも実現してない状況です。いや、厳密に言うと実現したものもあるんですけども、なかなか前に進まないっていうのが実情ですかね。一つのプロジェクトは主演俳優まで決まったんですけども、映画化にはいかなかったりとか、ただ必ずノマヒローズはそういった話をいただくので、いつか必ずチャンスがあれば、Amazon プライムか Netflix かどこかで皆さんの目に触れるような形に持っていきたいなと思って。
Awesome. Yeah, come tell me when that happens, because I'm very excited for that. Suda, one of the inspirations for Travis Touchdown is Johnny Knoxville, who recently said that he's retiring. His next Jackass movie will be his last. I feel like Travis Touchdown has had a very similarly violent career. Maybe, Johnny Knoxville hasn't killed as many people. Is Travis ever going to retire? Does he ever get to just become an old man and stay at home, or is he going to be an assassin forever?
僕は思うに多分ジョニー・ノックスビルはジャッカス、次は多分4だったと思うんですけども、4がラストと言いながらまた、復活するんじゃないかなと思ってます。やっぱりプロレスラーって一回引退しても必ずすぐ復活するますよね。あれと同じようにジョニー・ノックスビルもちょっとプロレスラーの雰囲気がありますから、必ず復活します。でノーマーヒーローズ に関して言うと、やはり、やっぱりトラビスが目指してるのってやっぱりロッキーなんですよ。ロッキーバルボアなので、ロッキーはロッキーシリーズファイナルまで行きましたけども、その後クリードもあります。ノーマンヒーローズシリーズもトラビスが主役じゃなくても、次の若手にバトンタッチした形でトラビスが今度は師匠として出るような、なんかそんなこうシリーズといいますか、トラビスの人生っていうものを語れるシリーズになるといいなと思ってます。
Awesome. Can't wait. I can't wait to see like just a very, very old Travis touchdown, just still kicking ass or teaching somebody else to do it. You know, that's a very Batman scenario right there. I dig that. Derek, before we go, you've done tons of awesome comic book covers before. Now you're doing a video game cover. We're all very old here, so we all remember what it was like buying video games based solely on their covers. Real quick before we go, tell me how this cover came together, how you decided on the sort of like central conflict in the middle of it, because this cover is awesome.
Thank you. Well, I go back older than I remember the side of the arcade games, like calling to me through the arcade, you know, when you had to go put coins in and stay standing. But it's again, like I think the same thing that goes for a good comic book cover works for a good game cover, and that's, you know, are there strong characters, and you know, when you look at it, does it make you want to know what's going on inside? And does it, you know, can you kind of convey a story just by showing a conflict? And I think that's what makes this game so cool, is that those characters immediately spark to life. And so all I had to do was, you know, see what they were doing and pull those elements forward. It was a little easier than it should have been.
Suda, I have to ask you about this art you sent me, because usually this would go to like my, you know, spam or virus folder, but it is a picture of Travis touchdown with his head cut off on a toilet. And that's usually, we're friends, but otherwise that's a mean thing to send somebody. How did this come together?
実はあの後は本当ダリックさんと僕で、ダリックさんが一番描きたいシーン描いてもらったんですね。で、実はヒーローズ3の中にあのシーンが出てきます。で、今回この IGN のこの映像を皆さんに見てもらった直後にダリックさんが描いたトラビスのすごいアートを発表しますんで、公開しますんで、ちょっとTwitter皆さんチェックしてください。あれは本当悪気があるわけじゃなくて、実際にああいうシーンがネタバレになっちゃうかな、あるかもしれません。
Oh, so yeah, we don't have to get into this too much because it's spoiler territory. But I will say, the toilet is a safe space for Travis. This is literally where he saves his game. He sits down, he relaxes, and now to see that, you know, his head can get cut off in there, I have some feelings. You know, I'm a lot more worried about playing this game now. Like, I don't know if there's anywhere safe anymore.
そのぐらい今回は死闘なんですよ。やばい連中。本当にマーベルでいうとサノス級の連中と戦うので、そのぐらいの覚悟を持ってトラビスはやりますので、ひょっとしたら本当にああいうことが起こるかもしれません。
So the sort of, I guess the sort of duality of man is that we also have this awesome sort of hero pose of Travis in front of his iconic, you know, Akira inspired bicycle. Tell me about this shot, because this is awesome. I want it on a t-shirt.
そうですね。今回やっぱり久々に、オープンワールドほど広くないんですけども、フリーマップっていう形でトラビスがバイクを乗ってサンタデストだけじゃなくていろんな場所をこう駆け巡るんですけども、それをやっぱり今回は強調したかったっていうのと、ある意味バイクとトラビスっていうこの象徴的なこの組み合わせっていうものをより皆さんに知ってもらうように、いわゆるアキラの構図というのを僕大事にしました。なのでゲーム中でもトラビスがバイクに乗ってブレーキを踏んで止まるときっていうのは必ずカナダ止まりという、皆さんが見たことあるザーッと止まる、はい、止まり方をしますんで、ぜひバイクを止まるときもすげえかっこいいんで、はい、ガンガン遊んでください。
Well, it is so ridiculously cool to see the two of you working together. Everything just meshes perfectly. I'm so excited for this game. No More Heroes 3 launches on Nintendo Switch on August 27th. Go get it. And until then, check out the boys, check out No More Heroes 1 and 2 on Switch, and just support these amazing, awesome artists and wonderful people, because they're doing cool stuff. For all things video games, No More Heroes, and everything else, you're already in the right place, IGN. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suda-san.